All right, welcome back to Twin Terror. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
And today we're going to talk about Donald Trump, his New York criminal case, and an effort to get it out of the New York state courts into the federal court system. Now, mind you, of all his criminal cases, this is what is colloquially, I can't say it, commonly known as the hush money payment case.
Yes, also known as.
It's not really a hush money payment case. It's an election finance case and a fraud case.
Election interference comes down to election interference.
Yeah, but in the end of the day, the sexy part is the hush money part of it.
Yes.
So background is Trump is filing a motion with Judge Merchan, I believe, to have Merchan dismiss this case move the jurisdiction from the state courts to the federal courts. If he can get into the federal courts, the next step would be to say, but I've got presidential immunity, so you need to toss this case out. And then, it would go to the appeals court, would rule on that. And eventually, if you get into the federal court system, that means the Supreme Court can have jurisdiction over it. Right now, as it stands, as a state case, Clarence Thomas, Justice Alito, and all these other folks can't get their dirty little grubs on the case because there's no way it's out of their jurisdiction.
There's no path to the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, when you're in the state system.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you want to throw the first set of cards on? Will we successfully get it to the federal court system? Or
I think why don't you throw? I've read on this one. Why don't you throw on? Will he be successful in getting it to the federal courts? Okay. And depending on Gary's answer, if Gary says, "Yeah, it looks like it'll get there," then we'll read on it. If Gary says, "I don't think it's going to make it," we can still read on it, but it would be more the speculation of like, okay, we don't expect it's going to get there, but if it did, what would it look like?
Yeah, so for those of you that watch Midas Touch, Midas Touch has been all over this the last few days, pretty much saying that it's got a snowball's chance of getting out of the state court system into the federal court system.
Yeah. By the way, extra background on this one. David's going to flex his extra background knowledge only because I did a reading on this a couple of days ago. Trump tried this back in the summer of 2023, and the judge, and it was a different judge. It wasn't Merchan. It was another judge said, no.
Yeah.
And then Trump had until like November to challenge that ruling, and he didn't do it. So basically, they walked away. They walked away from the gas, Gary. Just walked away. and now, and Blind Squirrel, who's one of my viewers, who's a lawyer, said, yeah, pretty much you walked away from it. That's it. You're done. You don't get to go revisit it back later. But as we all know, Donald Trump doesn't let silly little things like, past precedents and stuff like that get in the way of what he wants.
Yes. So they refiled to have it moved. And the judge came back and said, well, and now I'm kind of quoting Midas Touches, there's a pretty please that you have to say first. And you didn't file the pretty please paperwork first. So they rejected everything saying, okay, if you want this, you have to file the pretty please paperwork first. Otherwise, it's just no, because you're not following the process. So, okay, so for entertainment purposes only, will Trump's pretty please paperwork be successful in getting this case moved out of state court into federal court?
And for those wondering what the heck we were talking about with gas, that was a Mad Max reference. Or that was Mad Max.
Just walk away.
Just walk away. He's the Ayatollah of rock and roller.
Foundation of the reading is Three of Swords. Heartbreak.
Betrayal.
Yeah, I'm thinking that this is not looking good.
No, that's not the card you want when you're filing a motion with the court system to do something that would really set you free.
Indeed. Oh dear.
Lord.
Cross with the devil card. I mean, this is what Trump wants. He wants to separate it, but Right now, it's looking like he's going to have a little bit of heartbreak.
Yeah, that's not screaming yes to me.
Yeah. Underneath it all, the Queen of Pentacles. This case, it's this whole case. It's really kind of the foundation of our democracy. You lied and you cheated. It's not the fact that you slept with a porn star that's the problem here. It's not the fact that you paid her money to not disclose the sleeping with the porn star. It's that you lied to the American public. You took steps to prevent people from finding out something that the voting public should have known, and you basically covered it up. And you were it's essentially it's election interference. Everything that Trump talks about election interference, he's committed.
Yep.
And the Queen of Pentacles, we have to nurture this democracy. This is something that's important to everybody. It's the foundation of this damn country, and you can't treat it like that. In the past, you got the Queen of Cups.
Could you think of a better thing for hush money and keeping things quiet?
Yes, exactly. Keep a lid on it, kids. Yep. We can't let the public know that we've got this going on. Who cares about the democracy? This is about me.
That's right. This is me paying money to a woman.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Yeah, to keep a lid on it. The current energy is the magician trying to manifest something. He's trying to get this to move. If I could just get it to the federal court system, then everything is going to be fine. Trump he's an amazing manifester. He can make some really amazing things happen.
He absolutely is. I wonder why he wants to get him to the court system, the federal court system, Gary.
Because then his Supreme Court can bail his tail out.
Yeah.
So the overarching energy is the Lover card. It's about agreements. Yeah. Hi. Speaking of Lover cards, there's Kakuna. Okay, hold on. We're going to take a quick break from the reading. Kakuna will sit still. Hi, Kakuna. Hi, baby. How's my gorgeous girl doing, huh? She is so gorgeous.
Kakuna is like the shortest, most roundest cat I've ever seen. And the funny thing is, between that and her coat, she looks like a raccoon.
She is gorgeous and perfect in every way. She's my beautiful girl, huh, Coon? She does kind of look like a raccoon, actually.
She does. Raccoona.
Yeah, Laura's out in the backyard watering and stuff. Kakuna's not pleased. You're disturbing my tranquil spot. So you got overarching energy, the Lover card. It's about agreements and understandings. This is why Trump wants to get it to federal court, because he has an agreement and understanding with the Supreme Court on this. Those are his boys up there.
That the Supreme Court may feel differently, but we don't care how the Supreme Court feels. It's how I feel.
Overarching energy. Once again, here comes that Joe Biden, his presidential immunity. The Supreme Court has definitely offered things of value that Trump wants. But the lesson to be learned is that what you offer to Trump, everyone, all the presidents benefit from this.
Yeah.
And that's you got to look into that. That's the lesson to be learned is you can't play favorites because it can come back and bite you. Outcome: 3 of Pentacles. So that's really interesting. As far as the appeal itself, the pretty please paperwork, they're certainly going to talk about it. They're going to look at it and judge it based on its value and its merits on whether it's going to go forward. But the foundation is, once again, it's the 3 of Swords, that heartbreak. I understand why the cards are explaining this is why he wants to do it. Mm-hmm. The judge will look at it, but I think ultimately you're going to get your 3 of Swords here, which is, no, this is not going to move forward the way you want it to. Over to you, David.
Yeah, I would just say that last thing with 3 of Coins, they talk about it, but it's dark. The decision goes dark. It's not going to go through.
No, it's it's highly unlikely, and so I always try and put my biases to the side when I'm reading this.
I don't.
David doesn't always do that. There's nothing that says full steam ahead. Like if Three of Wands would have come up, that might have been more of a thing, or the Knight of Swords or something. But no, everything else, everything there is kind of speculative. We're going to think about it. We know why you want to do it, but there's nothing there that's telling me absolutely this is running forward.
And that's what I'm kind of seeing with it. It's like, the information that could be presidential immunity, that could get this to the federal court, it's such small potatoes compared to the overall case. It's just not going to rise to the level necessary to have this thing jump jurisdictions.
Yeah, once again, I think what the overarching energy and the lesson to be learned, it comes down to these weren't presidential acts. The Supreme Court gave that power to the president, to Biden currently, that you have immunity from presidential acts. Although he was doing some of this stuff while he was president, they weren't presidential acts, and they're not covered by immunity, and therefore it's going to stay in the state court system.
Yep.
I think that's what we were seeing with that the Lover's card and with the King of Cups. I think that's what that's telling us. Okay, so now we could just do speculation.
Right.
If it does,
if Gary's for some reason, if suitcases full of cash and gold bars were suddenly dumped on various judges and things along those lines, and it made its way to the federal court system in some parallel universe that we're living in, how would the federal courts rule on it? I'll let Gary rule on the Supreme Court if the federal courts, because it'll go to the Supreme Court either way.
Yeah.
How will the federal courts rule on it? I'm only going to do a 4-carder on that one. There's your manifestation. The Magician card. Fool card. Queen of Swords. 8 of Coins, and the Empress. Wow, three major arcana on this one. If you can manifest it to the courts, underlying it, they're going to look at it as a relationship between Trump and some women. They'll have to rule on it as such. And it's just that, to me, they're going to look at the money. They're going to look at when the money was paid and try and connect it wouldn't go anywhere in the federal. If it got to the federal courts, I don't think they're going to give him presidential immunity, because most of the crimes happened long before Trump was ever elected president of the United States. So I think if it made it to the federal courts, they would rule the same as the state courts. So now Trump would then bring it up, try and get it to the Supreme Court. Well, like Gary Brown. With the Supreme. So it's funny, Gary, because it's like Trump trying to get this to the federal courts is like make believe, and then in my make believe thing, it gets to there, and now it gets to the Supreme Court's also make believe. This thing is never making it to the federal courts. It just isn't. But if it did, well, once again, we start the foundation, the manifestation card. I mean, this is where he wants it to go. Yeah, we've hit the Wizard card in all three of the Magician card in all three of our throws here. The main clarifier is the High Priestess, keeper, divine feminine wisdom, keeper of secrets, the J and the B, the Joe Biden. If it can make it to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court's going to use their divine intelligence and wisdom. There's going to be some strong messaging. They're going to have to look at the public view of this, because there's the women voters and the young voters have made their mandate very clear in the election. But since this is, this is previous elections, let's see. And then you got the Knight of Cups underneath it, going out there and making kind of a peace offering. So if it goes to the Supreme Court, will he get relief?
I think the female justices for sure are not going for this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking with that.
Yeah, there is going to be a strong feminine presence in the Supreme Court that is going to oppose this.
Yeah.
The Page of Pentacles, it's that, this is our democracy. It's the newer members of the Supreme Court are going to look at this like, this is extraordinarily important for our democracy to make sure that our elections are not being subverted, that you don't have election interference. And you got the Knight of Cups, which to me is always kind of like a peace offering. So I think what it is you'll get a coalition of the newer justices and the female justices, and they're basically going to say, no, this is not going to happen. This was not part of your presidential duties. They may try and soften the blow to Trump a bit if it was to make it to the Supreme Court. But to me, when I see this, they're going to Justice Roberts with their case, saying, we can't do this. Alito and Thomas and who's the third guy that likes to caucus with them? Gorsuch. Those three are definitely going to be, those are presidential acts. The remaining justices are going to be like, no. And they're going to go to Roberts and say, we can't do this. This is not right. This is not something that we can go forward with. That's how I'm seeing it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The Knight of Cups also is low energy is a false friend.
Yeah.
Kind of the quid pro quo, hey, I got you in there, you need to vote for me type of thing. But with that Page of Pentacles, it just seems like there's not enough evidence there to give the Supreme Court the cover that they need to rule in his favor.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, we'll toss out all the stuff that happened in the White House, including the check writing. Maybe they could say you have to retry the case without that information or something like that. But that's about the extent of it. The best thing that they could probably do for Trump on this one is say, we think that this case should be retried, this evidence removed, and you get an appeal, you can have a new case. But again, that's only if it makes it to the federal court system, and a judge would have to decide that. I don't think the Supreme Court can decide that. And besides, the Supreme Court is supposed to be deciding constitutional things, and the only thing that Trump can bring up is that he's got presidential immunity, and that can only happen with things that happened after he was sworn into the office.
Right.
And then, I don't know if the Supreme Court even wants to hear arguments of, so is writing a check to Michael Cohen a presidential duty? I might argue that it's not.
Yeah, considering Cohen was not part of the presidential staff.
Yeah, just because it happened in the White House, it happened in the Oval Office, doesn't mean it was a presidential act.
I wonder if Bill Clinton would think that some of his activities in the White House were presidential acts.
Good. National security, of course. The right to pursue happiness. I believe that's part of
exercising his constitution.
That's in the Constitution, isn't it? Oh dear. All right. I think we've taken this one to its unnatural conclusion.
Yes. Now I want to share two things with you.
Okay.
So in the previous video, I was telling you how we had the Oktoberfest and how we had 5 liters of beer. So here is a picture of
your 5-liter keg.
Yeah, the 5-liter keg. So the glass on this side, that's 1 liter. That's 1 liter right there.
Got it.
So that's 1/5 of that. And we had someone in the comments, Patty Knight, had a request for us. She goes, maybe I miss it, but you haven't thrown a secret card in a while. Throw us a bone. A secret card. I think we need to throw a secret card.
Well, I don't know what the secret card is. What does this secret card do?
The secret card is where we just basically throw a card out, show a card, grab a card from the middle of the deck. Yes, exactly. Ooh.
Oh, mine's upside down. Mine's the Empress.
Oh, mine is the 10 of Pentacles. So there's your secret card.
Yes.
For you. I literally do read all the comments. I respond to many. So thank you for your comments. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you really like this nonsense, subscribe. If you like the cat clock, you can subscribe to that too. It'll get its own channel. We'll just we'll have the Kit Kat clock.
Live stream it.
Yeah, exactly. Just you'll know what time it is. You just go onto YouTube, look up Kit Kat clock.
Well, if you're Pacific time, sure.
Oh well, maybe we can have like a whole wall of clocks.
Maybe it's Greenwich. Send it to 0 Greenwich Mean Time or something like that. Okay. Thank you, everyone. These readings are for entertainment purposes only. We were wildly entertained while reading it. We hope you were too.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Have a great day, folks.
Take care. We'll catch you on the next video.